Welcome to Dreamtale Sleep Stories. Tonight's reading is the Superhero Delivery Service. Settle into your bed or sofa and let your shoulders, jaw, and eyelids grow heavy. Inhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, and sigh the air away, allowing the day to fade into quiet dark. With every soft inhale, you invite fresh English phrases. With every gentle exhale, stray thoughts drift farther off. Behind my voice flows a gentle melody, renowned for guiding the mind toward deep relaxation. Keep your eyes closed or follow the captions, whichever feels right. Simply receive the rhythm and resonance of the language. Deep in rest, tonight's phrases will take root like seeds, ready to bloom into stronger English skills with the morning light. When you feel settled, hold that unhurried breath and allow yourself to drift into the tale. The Superhero Delivery Service begins now. And when the story's final line has faded, the music will linger a little longer, carrying you gently deeper into sleep. The Superhero Delivery Service. Max Johnson was 25 years old and worked as a delivery driver for Quick Delivery Company in the busy city of Riverside. Every morning at 6 o'clock, his alarm clock would ring loudly, and Max would jump out of bed with a big smile on his face. He loved his job more than anything else in the world, though his co-workers thought he was a little strange. "Good morning, sunshine," Max would say to his reflection in the bathroom mirror as he brushed his teeth and combed his dark hair. He was tall and strong, with kind brown eyes that sparkled when he smiled. After getting dressed in his blue quick delivery uniform, Max would eat a quick breakfast of toast and orange juice before heading to work. The quick delivery warehouse was a large, busy building on the edge of the city. Trucks of all sizes came and went throughout the day, carrying packages to every corner of Riverside. Max's truck was small and painted bright blue with the company logo on the side. It wasn't the fastest or the newest truck, but Max took excellent care of it and could drive it faster than anyone else at the company. "Morning, Max," killed his supervisor, Mrs. Chen, as he walked into the warehouse. "You're early again, as usual." "I like to be ready for anything," Max replied with a grin. "What do we have today, Mrs.?" Chen handed him a clipboard with his delivery list. 37 packages today. Some are going to the business district, some to the suburbs, and a few to the old part of town near the river. Max looked at the list carefully. He had delivered to most of these addresses before and knew exactly how long each delivery would take. What Mrs. Chen didn't know was that Max had a very special secret that helped him with his job. Max Johnson wasn't just an ordinary delivery driver. He was also a superhero. His superhero name was the Helper, and he had 3 amazing powers. First, he could move incredibly fast, much faster than any normal person. Second, he could make objects appear and disappear by moving them instantly from one place to another. Third, he had a special sense that warned him when someone was in danger or needed help. Max had discovered his powers 3 years ago during a terrible accident. He had been driving his delivery truck when he saw a school bus sliding on ice toward a group of children. Without thinking, he had jumped out of his truck and somehow moved fast enough to push all the children to safety. The bus had crashed into a tree instead of hurting anyone. That day, Max realized he was different from other people. He decided to use his powers to help others, but he had to be very careful not to let anyone discover his secret identity. As Max loaded packages into his truck that morning, he used his powers in small ways that no one would notice. When a heavy box was too high for him to reach normally, he would make it teleport down to his hands. When he needed to organize packages quickly, he would move at super speed for just a few seconds while no one was looking. "See you later, Max," called his coworker Jim as Max drove out of the warehouse. "Try not to break any speed records today." If only Jim knew the truth, Max thought to himself as he drove toward his first delivery. Max's first stop was at Riverside Elementary School. He had a package for the principal, Mrs. Rodriguez. As he walked toward the school entrance, his danger sense suddenly started tingling. He looked around and saw a small dog running loose in the school parking lot, heading straight toward the busy street. Without hesitation, Max used his super speed to run after the dog. To anyone watching, it would look like he had simply jogged quickly across the parking lot. He scooped up the little brown and white dog just before it reached the dangerous street. "Oh my goodness!" exclaimed a woman who came running after the dog. "Thank you so much. Buddy escaped from my car when I was dropping off my daughter. You saved his life, just doing my job." "Ma'am," Max said with a smile, handing her the dog. "Glad I could help." After delivering the package to Mrs. Rodriguez, Max continued on his route. His next stop was at a tall office building downtown. As he carried a large package toward the elevator, he noticed an elderly man struggling to lift a heavy suitcase. When no one was looking, Max used his teleportation power to move the suitcase from the floor to a nearby bench where the old man could reach it more easily. "How strange," the elderly man said to himself. "I could have sworn this suitcase was much heavier a moment ago." Max smiled to himself as he got on the elevator. He loved using his powers to help people in small ways throughout his day. By lunchtime, Max had delivered 15 packages and secretly helped 7 different people. He had prevented a woman from dropping her groceries, helped a lost tourist find the right direction, and even stopped a pickpocket from stealing a man's wallet in the crowded city center. As Max ate his sandwich in the park, he thought about how lucky he was to have a job that let him travel all over the city. It gave him the perfect opportunity to use his powers to help people while maintaining his secret identity. That afternoon, Max received an unusual call on his radio. Mrs. Chen's voice crackled through the speaker. "Max, we've got a special delivery request. The customer wants to remain anonymous, but they're paying extra for same-day delivery to multiple addresses." "How many addresses?" Max asked. 23, Mrs. Chen replied. "And the packages are all different sizes. Can you handle it?" "No problem," Max said confidently. "Send me the list." When Max returned to the warehouse, he was surprised by what he saw. There were packages of all shapes and sizes waiting for him, each one carefully wrapped and labeled with a different address around the city. Some were small boxes that could fit in his pocket, while others were large enough to require both hands to carry. What made the packages even more mysterious was that none of them had a return address. The shipping labels simply said, "From a friend," where the sender's name should have been. "This is definitely unusual," Max muttered to himself as he loaded the packages into his truck. His superhero instincts told him that something interesting was happening, but he couldn't sense any danger. His first delivery was to a small apartment building in the poorest part of town. The package was addressed to Maria Santos, apartment 3B. When Max knocked on the door, it was opened by a tired-looking woman holding a baby. "I think there's been a mistake," Maria said when Max handed her the package. "I didn't order anything, and I can't afford to pay for delivery." "It's already paid for," Max explained. "Someone wanted you to have this." Maria opened the package carefully and gasped. Inside was a large supply of baby formula and diapers, along with a note that read, "For little Carlos. May he grow up healthy and strong. From a friend who cares." Tears began to flow down Maria's cheeks. "I don't understand. Who would do this? I've been so worried about how to afford formula this month." Max felt a warm feeling in his chest as he watched Maria's reaction. "Sometimes good things happen when we least expect them," he said gently. "Take care of yourself and little Carlos." The next delivery was to an old man named Mr. Patterson, who lived alone in a small house near the river. When Max handed him the package, Mr. Patterson's hands shook as he opened it. Inside was a beautiful, handmade scarf and a note that said, "To keep you warm this winter. You are not forgotten. From a friend." "I haven't received a gift in over 10 years, Mr. Patterson said softly. "Not since my wife passed away. Who could have sent this?" "I wish I could tell you," Max replied honestly. "But someone out there is thinking about you." As Max continued his deliveries, he began to see a pattern. Every package contained exactly what the recipient needed most. A struggling artist received expensive art supplies. A family whose car had broken down received bus passes and grocery store gift cards. A college student received textbooks that she couldn't afford to buy. Each package also contained a note signed "From a friend." But Max noticed that the handwriting was always the same. Someone was secretly helping dozens of people throughout the city, and they were using quick delivery to do it. By the time Max finished the last delivery, it was getting dark. He had delivered packages to 23 different people, and every single one of them had been brought to tears by the unexpected kindness. Max felt proud to be part of spreading so much happiness, even if he didn't know who was behind it. As he drove back to the warehouse, Max's danger sense suddenly started tingling very strongly. Something big was about to happen. He looked around carefully as he drove through the downtown area, trying to figure out what was wrong. Then he saw it. All the lights in the city's financial district had gone out. The traffic lights weren't working, and people were standing in the streets looking confused and worried. Max grabbed his radio and called Mrs. Chen. "There's been a major power outage downtown," he reported. "It looks like the whole financial district is affected." "We're hearing reports of problems at the central bank," Mrs. Chen replied. "Some kind of computer system failure, along with the power outage. The police are investigating." Max's superhero instincts told him this wasn't just a simple power failure. His danger sense was getting stronger, which meant people were in serious trouble. He parked his truck in a safe location and decided to investigate. Using his super speed, he ran through the dark streets toward the central bank. The building was completely dark, and he could see police cars and fire trucks arriving. As Max got closer, he overheard two police officers talking. "The backup generators aren't working either," one officer said. "Someone sabotaged the whole electrical system. The bank security systems are completely down. Perfect timing for a robbery," the other officer replied grimly. "We've had reports of suspicious activity near the bank all week." Max's heart started beating faster. If criminals were planning to rob the bank during the blackout, he had to stop them. But this seemed like a job that was too big for one person, even a superhero. As if to confirm his fears, Max heard the sound of breaking glass coming from the back of the bank building. He ran toward the sound and saw 4 men in dark clothing climbing through a broken window. Max knew he had to act quickly, but he also knew he couldn't handle 4 dangerous criminals by himself. He needed help, but calling the police would take too long. The criminals would be gone with the money before help could arrive. Then Max had an idea. What if he didn't have to keep his identity secret anymore? What if the people of Riverside could help him stop these criminals? For 3 years, Max had been careful to hide his powers from everyone. But now, facing the biggest crisis he had ever encountered, he realized that helping people was more important than protecting his secret. Max took a deep breath and made a decision that would change his life forever. He ran toward the bank at full super speed, not caring who might see him. He used his teleportation power to move heavy objects in front of the broken window, trapping the criminals inside. Then he ran to the front of the building where the police officers were standing. "Officers," Max called out, "I know this is going to sound strange, but I can help you catch the bank robbers." The police officers looked at him skeptically. "Sir, this is a crime scene," one of them said. "You need to stay back for your own safety." "I understand," Max said, "but I have special abilities that can help. Watch this." Before the officers could stop him, Max used his super speed to run around the entire bank building in less than 5 seconds. To the officers, it looked like he had simply vanished and then reappeared in the same spot. "What? How did you?" one officer stammered. "There's no time to explain everything now," Max said urgently. "But I'm here to help. The criminals are trapped inside, but we need to act fast before they find another way out." More people had gathered to watch what was happening. Word spread quickly through the crowd that the quick delivery driver had just demonstrated superhuman abilities. "That's Max," called out Mrs. Rodriguez, the school principal. "He's the one who saved that dog in our parking lot this morning. I knew he moved unusually fast. He helped my grandmother with her heavy groceries last week," added a young woman in the crowd. "She said he appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared just as quickly." More and more people began sharing stories of mysterious help they had received throughout the city. The lost tourist who had been given perfect directions, a woman whose dropped groceries had mysteriously jumped back into her arms, the man whose wallet had somehow returned to his pocket after being stolen. "You're the one who's been helping everyone," exclaimed Mr. Patterson, the elderly man who had received the scarf. "I saw you deliver my package today, but now I realize you've been helping people all over the city for years." Max looked around at all the faces in the crowd. Instead of fear or suspicion, he saw gratitude and amazement. "Yes," Max said honestly, "I have special powers, and I've been using them to help people while doing my delivery job. But right now, I need all of your help to stop these criminals." The crowd began to cheer and offer their assistance. The police officers, still amazed by what they had witnessed, decided to trust Max and work with him. "What do you need us to do?" asked Officer Williams. Max quickly explained his plan. Using his powers, he would create distractions to confuse the criminals while the police surrounded the building. The crowd of citizens would help by providing light from their cell phones and car headlights, since the power was still out. "But first," Max said, "we need to deal with another emergency. I can sense that people at the city hospital are in danger because of the power outage." Max's super speed allowed him to run to the hospital and back in just a few minutes. He used his teleportation power to move portable generators from a construction site to the hospital, restoring power to the critical care units. When he returned to the bank, the crowd had grown even larger. People were arriving from all over the city after hearing news of the superhero delivery driver. Max called a familiar voice. It was Maria Santos, the young mother who had received baby formula earlier that day. "I came as soon as I heard. After what you helped deliver to me today, I want to help you however I can." Max was touched by the support, but he was also confused about the mysterious packages. "Maria, I'm glad you're here, but I have to admit something. I don't know who sent you that package. I was just delivering it." A distinguished older man stepped forward from the crowd. He was wearing an expensive suit and had gray hair and kind eyes. "That was me," the man said. "I sent all those packages today." Everyone turned to look at him in surprise. "My name is Richard Sterling," the man continued. "I own Sterling Industries, and I've been living in this city for 40 years. Recently, I decided I wanted to give back to the community in a meaningful way." Mr. Sterling explained that he had been secretly researching people in the city who needed help. He had been sending anonymous gifts through quick delivery because he wanted to help without getting credit or attention. "But when I heard about Max's heroic actions tonight," Mr. Sterling said, "I realized that sometimes it's important to come forward and work together openly." Max felt amazed by the generosity of Mr. Sterling and the support of all the people around him. For the first time in 3 years, he didn't feel like he had to face challenges alone. Working together, Max and the citizens of Riverside successfully captured the bank robbers. Max used his super speed and teleportation to confuse and disorient the criminals. while the police and volunteers surrounded the building with lights and formed a secure perimeter. When it was all over, the 4 criminals were in police custody, and the bank's money was safe. The power company had arrived to begin restoring electricity to the downtown area. "Max," said Officer Williams as they finished filling out the police report. "I've been a police officer for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like what you did tonight. You're a real hero." "We all are," Max replied, looking around at the crowd of people who had stayed to help. "I couldn't have done any of this without everyone working together." The next morning, Max woke up to find that news of the superhero delivery driver had spread throughout the entire city. His phone was ringing constantly with calls from reporters, and there was a crowd of people waiting outside his apartment building. When Max arrived at the quick delivery warehouse, he found Mrs. Chen waiting for him with a big smile on her face. "Max," she said, "I always knew you were special, but I had no idea just how special. The company has received hundreds of calls this morning from people wanting to request deliveries, specifically from our superhero driver." "I hope I'm not in trouble," Max said nervously. "Trouble?" Mrs. Chen laughed. "Max, you're the best advertisement this company has ever had. We want to work with you to create a new service called Hero Delivery." Max spent the rest of the week meeting with Mrs. Chen, Mr. Sterling, and city officials to develop the new Hero Delivery service. The idea was simple. People who needed help could contact Quick Delivery, and Max would use his powers to assist them while making his regular deliveries. Mr. Sterling provided funding for special equipment and vehicles that would help Max use his abilities more effectively. The city government created an official partnership between Hero Delivery and the police and fire departments. "The goal," explained Mayor Johnson at a press conference, "is to create a model for how people with special abilities can work openly with their communities to help others." Max was nervous about speaking at the press conference, but when he looked out at the crowd, he saw many familiar faces. There was Mrs. Rodriguez from the school, Mr. Patterson with his new scarf, Maria Santos holding baby Carlos, and dozens of other people he had helped over the years. 3 years ago, Max said into the microphone, "I discovered I had special abilities, and I thought I had to keep them secret. I was afraid people would think I was strange or dangerous." The crowd listened quietly as Max continued. "But last week, I learned something much more important than any superpower. I learned that the greatest strength comes from working together with other people. Every person in this city has the power to help others, whether they have superpowers or not." The crowd erupted in applause, and Max felt a warmth in his heart that was better than any superpower he possessed. 1 month later, Max was back in his blue quick delivery uniform, driving his truck through the streets of Riverside. But now, everything was different. His truck was equipped with special communication equipment that allowed him to receive emergency calls from all over the city. He had a team of volunteer assistants who helped coordinate his deliveries and heroic activities. Most importantly, He no longer had to hide who he really was. As Max made his morning deliveries, people waved and called out friendly greetings from their windows and doorsteps. Children pointed excitedly when they saw his truck, and adults smiled and gave him thumbs up. "Good morning, Max," called Mrs. Rodriguez as he delivered packages to the school. "Any exciting rescues planned for today?" "Just the usual," Max replied with a grin. Delivering packages and saving the day, one delivery at a time. At lunchtime, Max stopped at his favorite deli to buy a sandwich. The owner, Mr. Patel, always had a warm meal waiting for him. "No charge today, Max," Mr. Patel said as he handed over the sandwich. "After you helped my daughter find her lost cat last week, lunch is on the house." "Mr. Patel, you don't have to do that," Max protested. "A hero has to eat," Mr. Patel replied firmly. "Besides, helping others is what neighbors do for each other." As Max ate his lunch in the park, he thought about how much his life had changed. He was still the same person with the same powers, but now he felt like he was truly part of a community. His radio crackled with Mrs. Chen's voice. "Max, we've got a priority delivery. A little girl named Emma lost her favorite stuffed animal at the zoo, and her parents think it might have been turned in to the lost and found. They're hoping you can get it back to her before bedtime." "On my way," Max replied, finishing his sandwich and jumping back into his truck. 20 minutes later, Max was using his super speed to search every corner of the zoo's lost and found department. He found Emma's stuffed elephant buried under a pile of forgotten umbrellas and used his teleportation power to clean it up and make it look as good as new. When Max arrived at Emma's house, the little girl was sitting on her front steps, looking very sad. "Emma?" Max called out as he approached with the stuffed elephant hidden behind his back. "Are you the superhero delivery man?" Emma asked, her eyes growing wide. "That's me," Max said with a smile, "and I believe this belongs to you." When Max revealed the stuffed elephant, Emma squealed with joy and hugged it tightly. "Elephant, I missed you so much," she exclaimed. Then she looked up at Max with serious eyes. "Are you really a superhero?" "I have some special abilities," Max said, kneeling down to Emma's level. "But you know what makes someone a real hero?" Emma shook her head. "Caring about other people and trying to help them, even in small ways. You don't need superpowers to be a hero." Emma thought about this for a moment. "My mom says I'm a hero because I help take care of my baby brother." "Your mom is absolutely right," Max said. "That's exactly the kind of hero the world needs more of." As Max drove away from Emma's house, he felt the familiar warm feeling in his chest that came from helping others. But now, instead of feeling like he had to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders alone, he felt supported by an entire community of people who cared about each other. That evening, Max met with his team of volunteer assistants at the quick delivery warehouse. There was Officer Williams, who helped coordinate emergency responses, Mrs. Rodriguez, who managed requests from schools and families, Mr. Sterling, who provided funding and resources, and Maria Santos, who organized community outreach programs. "How was today?" asked Mrs. Rodriguez, as the team gathered around a table covered with maps and delivery schedules. "Perfect," Max replied. 32 regular deliveries, 1 lost stuffed animal rescue, 2 elderly people helped with groceries, and 1 cat retrieved from a tree. Don't forget about the birthday surprise delivery, added Maria. Mrs. Thompson was so happy when you delivered all those gifts from her grandchildren who live far away. Mr. Sterling pulled out a chart showing statistics from the past month. Hero Delivery has completed over 500 special assistance requests, in addition to regular deliveries. Customer satisfaction is at 100%, and we've had 0 complaints. More importantly, added Officer Williams, crime in the city is down 30% since Hero Delivery started. When people know someone is looking out for them, they feel safer and happier. Max looked around at his team with gratitude. I couldn't do any of this without all of you. We're not just delivering packages anymore. We're delivering hope. As the meeting ended and everyone prepared to go home, Max took a moment to step outside and look up at the stars. The city lights twinkled below him, and he could see people walking safely through streets that were now well lit and well protected. 3 years ago, Max had thought that being a hero meant working alone and keeping secrets. Now he understood that the most powerful thing he could do was bring people together and inspire them to help each other. Max's phone buzzed with a text message from Mrs. Chen. Early morning emergency delivery tomorrow. Family's car broke down, and they need medical supplies for their sick grandmother. Can you handle a 6 a.m. start? Max smiled as he typed his reply. Always ready to help. See you at 6. As he walked back to his apartment, Max reflected on how perfect his life had become. He had a job he loved, powers he could use openly to help others, and a community of friends who supported him. Tomorrow would bring new deliveries, new opportunities to help people, and new chances to make the world a little bit better. Max Johnson, the superhero delivery driver, couldn't wait to see what adventures the next day would bring. The city of Riverside slept peacefully that night, knowing that their hero would be ready to help at a moment's notice. And in his small apartment above the bakery, Max Johnson slept soundly too, dreaming of all the good he would do tomorrow with his special delivery service. The superhero delivery service had become more than just a job, or even a heroic calling. It had become a symbol of what was possible when people worked together to take care of each other. And for Max, it was the best life he could have ever imagined. The end.